because the opening ceremony is about to start. So please, everybody come into the hacker room because opening ceremony starts at 6 p.m. sharp. Please come in. Welcome.
Cause I will always love you, love you, love you, love you, love you.
welcome all hackers, all partners, all dreamers, and all creators of the future. It's fantastic to see so many of you here. I'm just blown away. This is fantastic. My name is Ann Molin, and I am the head project manager of Hack for Sweden. Hack for Sweden 2019 is so much more of everything. We're bigger, we're better, and we're going to shine so much more this year. This past year, we have gone from 29 government agencies partners to over 90 today. Isn't that fantastic? 90 partners. Yeah. And now the partners are both from the public sector and the private sector. And of course, the hackers. Last year, we were 220 hackers. Great. This year, you are 420. Give it up for you. Yeah. So, this means, in my world, that we have gone from a government mission to a movement for a sustainable solution for Sweden. And you are part of this, of course. So, Hack for Sweden 2019, what is it all about? I say it's about 3 good things. And those 3 things are sustainability, diversity, and impact. So, please come join us in our quest for sustainable solutions for the society we all dream of tomorrow. So I wish you all a fantastic experience. Please go out there and be creative, be curious, but most of all, have fun at Hack for Sweden 2019. So now, I give to you the super cool moderators who are going to guide you through these 3 days of Hack for Sweden 2019. Elsa Landberg and Oskar Mörke.
Dreamers and developers!
Ladies and gentlemen!
Innovators and game changers. We, or you, have entered your final destination. And it's a battle against the clock. Somewhere, no clock. And it's the worst enemy.
Or perhaps it's your greatest potential. Because how often do you get the chance to create something cool, but that can also be good for our society?
And that, my dear friend, is what Hack for Sweden is all about. Making cool things, and at the same time, making an impact. 2 good things. So we're here today to get you psyched, to get you the knowledge you need and the support and guidance to create sustainable solutions. We're going to repeat this all over the time. But start with this. Elsa, you were here last year as well.
Yes. I was moderating the last year's hackathon that Anne spoke about. No, I didn't win. I just moderated it all. But yeah, so that's me and my relation to Hack for Sweden. It's been such an amazing journey, really. But who am I as a person then? Well, my Monday morning starts usually with me just scooting through Stockholm on my electronic bike or scooter. Yeah. And then I might go into a cafe and buy a cup of coffee. Then I'll probably blip my SL card to go down to the subway, as you might have seen in a video. Yeah, and then I'll make a purchase of a screwdriver or something. But the point is, when I do all of these stuff, I just collect a lot of golden data, which is super exciting. But besides that, I love to tell stories. I am an engineer by heart, actually, so I have been participating in a lot of hackathons and sitting by the tables you're sitting by right now. So super pumped about this.
And I'm humble. I'm a lover, dancer, and a fighter. But first and foremost, I'm the community manager for Hack for Sweden. So probably I've been spamming you with emails and missing you in the email list, but here I am. I've been answering your questions, hopefully. But most of all, I see myself as an artist. I'm a former gladiator in World of Warcraft, which I usually brag about. But basically, also designed the site, the event site that we're going to show you later.
Yeah, and that's such a cool thing. We're going to show you that later, but besides all of this and us, the most exciting thing in this room is you guys, really. And since you've been designing this whole site and handling all of the registration list, basically, who do we have in the audience?
Well, let's see. Okay, I'm just going to read out the whole list. And let's see, we'll start with letter A. No, but seriously, we have developers, first and foremost. Developers, and you can call them front-end, ninjas, wizards, back-end. But most important, you're the beautiful stallions that we love.
Yeah, and we just wrote down some of the scopes of who you are. So I have another one right here, and that is the dreamer. The person who comes up with all the great ideas and just can, see themselves like a pioneer, basically, see themselves, how will the society look like in 10 years? And that personality is super important in a hackathon as well. Who else do we have?
We got the entrepreneur, the business-minded. Maybe not that common that you see at the hackathon, but the business-minded who actually makes a solution profitable or reasonable.
One of the most important people is the person that actually makes stuff happen as well. The person that keeps track of the clock and just, realizes all people's potential. That person is super important because we have a battle against the clock, as you all heard.
And of course, the leader of the pack that makes the important decisions. The mood manager who brings you coffee and supports you with a nice vibe and atmosphere.
Yeah. Then we also have the expert, and take the chance to speak to experts about the different challenges that we're going to speak about soon. Yes. So let's embark on a journey that will last until Saturday, and at the end of our journey, somewhere over the rainbow, who knows what treasures we might have.
So, and also we're live streaming this event, so all of Sweden is watching. Every one of you. And basically, it's time for us to push you in the right direction and give you a little hint of space, politics, and even how you can digitize a cup of coffee. So, the first speaker on stage is Magnus Ensel.
Hej allesammans, jättetrevligt att ha er här. Jag heter Magnus, jag jobbar för regeringen Och egentligen här för att säga att regeringen vill att ni ska hacka Sverige. Därför att det är det som behövs. Vi måste få fart på digitaliseringen av offentliga Sverige och vi måste få ett bättre grepp på de samhällsutmaningar som vi står inför. Jag jobbar för Anders Ygeman, digitaliseringsminister. Han är här imorgon mellan 10 och 11 och kommer kryssa mellan rummen och teamen och kolla vad ni håller på med och lära sig mer av hur data kan hjälpa oss att lösa de samhällsutmaningar vi står inför. Jag ska ge en kort liten kraschkurs i hur regeringen ser på medborgardriven innovation. Utgångspunkten är lite att där vi står idag så är data en ny typ av resurs som kanske kan jämställas med hur olja var för industrisamhället. Det var bränslet som egentligen satte igång samhällsutvecklingen och ekonomin. Data är också egentligen det minsta byggblocket i det digitala samhälle som vi alla nu håller på att bygga. Utan data, ingen analytics, inga algoritmer, ingen bra AI. Tar man lite större perspektiv på det här så kan man se att det här är en bild jag har tagit från IBMs Institute for Business Value som gör en lite rolig analys som visar att världen kan beskrivas egentligen i termer av 11 system. Inte mer. 100% av BNP kommer härifrån. De hänger ihop på olika sätt. Det som är betecknande för alla de här är att de här var tills alldeles nyligen pappersdrivna. De håller nu på att bli datadrivna. Det offentliga och samhället är en del av det här. Och om det offentliga inte blir datadrivet så kommer vi att stoppa upp utvecklingen av de här systemen. Det här värdet kommer att skapas i den digitala ekonomin, det digitala samhället. Och det här, det offentliga och samhället, måste jacka in i de här datadrivna processerna. Data kan man säga är det som driver på transformationen av samhället och de här stora systemen som vi idag har möjlighet att effektivisera och göra mer tillgängliga och skapa en högre delaktighet i. Jag ska ge några korta exempel på vad jag menar med det. Därför att när vi pratar om data från det offentliga sidan, regeringens sida, så pratar vi ofta om öppna data. Och folk tar det som att ja, men myndigheterna sitter ju på stora register och så kanske man kan släppa ut dem och sen så kan man bygga saker på det. Men det är ju inte det enda perspektivet vi har vad gäller datadriven innovation. Jag ska dra ett exempel. Det här är sorry, should I speak English? Sorry. I'm reading here English PowerPoint, and I just realized. Sorry for switching languages. Let's log into English and say welcome to everybody, because you're all included in this. And yes, the government can speak English, and we do want everybody included. Yes, okay, sorry. Backing up, you can describe the world as 11 systems. Let's get them data-driven, all right? Data is driving the world. I'm going to give you an example of how we can create these data-driven systems. This is a brand new Volvo. It has something called a slippery road alert. If the car senses that the road is slippery, it sort of beams up its position to the cloud and beams that down to the next Volvo car that is running around. But not all Swedes are driving Volvos, right? So what Volvo is doing is sharing that data with the Agency for Traffic. And the Agency for Traffic can share that to all Swedes. So suddenly we created this data collaborative where the Agency for Traffic gets a warning system for slippery roads, almost for free, with very good precision. And if we store that data and make that historical, we can also understand where the roads get slippery, so we can improve that part of the road. And if we store that, we can also understand how we can plow the roads, get rid of the snow, and basically make a more efficient traffic system. And this is sort of how the public can collaborate with commercial partners. Another interesting, you might have heard of this, is called RoadDroid. two guys that basically is utilizing the accelerator in the phones. And when you bring the phone in the car, it will measure the quality of the road you're driving on. And then we have this civil society organization called Motormännens Riksförbund. They're all interested in roads and cars and making sure that the public sphere is building good roads. So they send out all their members with this app to measure the road quality. So that civil society organization gets empowered by that kind of data. And I just want you to think, when you come up with novel solutions here, that we have a civil society out there that could be potential data producers. If you just you bring them in as co-workers, you want to increase their participation in the creation of these systems. And there's a new organization called NOD, which is sort of a telephone switch for all the civil society organizations in Sweden. So that might be good to have in your back head, that you can get hold of these organizations. The third example is something that MIT is working with in Boston, something called Data Commons. I'm sure some of you have heard of this. They're basically arguing that in the old days, we had centralized organizations. Then, like in Sweden, we have decentralized organizations. What digitalization promises and makes possible is to create distributed organizations. So with the help of just our IoT devices, like the smartphone, the most obvious one, we can create these public systems of engagement, where we engage the whole citizenry to become co-workers to create public value. Now, they've done this in Boston in something called Somerville, where they created a token-based system of engagement. That means if you sign up, you get 10 tokens, and you can spend that. And if you leave your car and you take public transportation instead, you can then exchange those for tickets in the traffic for the subway and the buses. If you invite your neighbor to come in as a participant in that system, the value of those tokens increases. So the whole system as itself increases. Here becomes really, really interesting, because building these data-driven systems of incentives, we can actually start building systems that changes people's behavior. And that is something that we need for the future if you want to build a sustainable society. So how can we use all these kinds of tools, all these kinds of partnerships, these kinds of tokens and incentive systems to build sustainable solutions? Now, this is, of course, why you are here, right? And I'm only here to say good luck and hack away. Be as creative as you can be. Think public value. Think how you can collaborate around data to make these challenges that we put to you less daunting. And if you think about the Sweden 4.0 that we want to put in place, don't think what Sweden can do for you, but what you can do for Sweden. All right? Have a good time.
Hi. Not going to say too much. I'm going to bring up the next speaker we have. And this is a very special person. He's an author. He is the co-founder of Singularity U Nordic, where he now is also the Chief Innovation and Learning Officer. Please welcome on stage Chris Östergaard.
Thank you. How's everyone doing? Excellent, thank you. I got a woo and a yay, I'll take it. So, I'm very proud, I'm very happy to be an advisory board member at Hack for Sweden. So I've had the privilege also to spend the last many months and discussing with Anne and with the team around what was going to happen today and what are we trying to get out of this and what are we hoping to be able to support you guys with in order to come up with amazing solutions. So first of all, I want to thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bothering enough to show up. That's an important first step, and I really appreciate that. And I want to talk a little bit about sort of what I think, what kind of mindset we should try and tune ourselves to in order to create solutions that can really make an impact. Now, so when we talk about the future, we tend to sort of have like a very black and white way of looking at it, right? So one is the utopia, that is everything is clean, there's lots of glass, there's lots of green trees, there's lots of flying cars, we're all very happy. Or we have the dystopia, where everything is bleak and dark and raining and Blade Runner, and there's a Terminator trying to kill us all. But all of that, of course, is stereotypes and not at all what the future will be like. And in fact, I think it's really important for us all to remember that the future is not something that happens upon us. The future is a consequence of the actions that we choose to take and the challenges that we dare to take on, even if we don't know how to solve the problems that we're looking at. So there are massive problems in the world. There are more than 2 billion people in the world that are unbanked, that don't have access to finances. There are 2 billion more people, many of them the same, that don't have access to clean water. Climate change is very real. We have this limit everybody's talking about, 450 ppm, parts per million CO2 in the air, that we don't want to hit. We'll probably hit it in 10 to 15 years. That really sucks. We are more connected than ever, but loneliness is a huge problem in modern societies such as ours. But at the same time, we're also living in a world where technology is enabling us to do what used to be impossible and what used to seem like magic. Despite what we hear in the news every day and what I just listed of problems, the world is in fact becoming a better place due to the way we as human beings are leveraging technology. There is less violence, there's less poverty, there's less hunger, there's less child death. The world is becoming a better place. Solar energy is surpassing fossil fuels as the cheapest source of energy. Biology has become an information technology. We can now code DNA, which will enable us to solve and cure the cancers of the world that are the big killers. This is massively impressive, important, and it points towards a future that can be so much better than the past. But time is a very scarce resource. The time we spend on one thing, we cannot spend on another. So we really need to think about what are we spending our time on. And there are a lot of stuff out there where you look at it and you got to think, why did someone choose to spend time on that? Did you hear about the iBeer app? You can take it, it's like for an iPhone, and then you can see a picture of a beer, and then you hold it up like this, and then it pretends that you drink, and it also burps. And it's been downloaded 90 million times. Or there's this other app that is the throw your phone as high up in the air as you can app. That probably is sponsored by a cell phone producer. Otherwise, I can't really figure out what the hell the purpose is. Right? And that's fine and good and it's fun. But the people who choose to build that could have also chosen to spend that time on solving the global grand challenges, on tackling the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So we got to think about what are we spending our time on, because if we do A, we cannot spend that time on doing B. So the reason that I joined the advisory board at Hack for Sweden was because I actually really think that initiatives like this, collaboration, using open data, a lot of creativity, a diversity of so many people like yourselves, is part of the solution, is how we're going to create solutions that we couldn't do if we stayed back home in our silos, only talked to our friends. We need to collaborate, startups with corporates, with municipalities, with governments, with you and with me. And if we do that, we can achieve much more. Now, so there's an interesting study that was conducted between the mid-90s and the mid-2000s, where a couple of researchers, they took 1,600 children, and then they tested them for divergent thinking. Divergent thinking is the ability to have truly original ideas. They had a control group of 280,000 adults that they also tested for divergent thinking. And the results were staggering. So 4 to 5-year-old children, when they tested them for the ability to have truly original ideas, the results showed that 98% of them were creative geniuses. Now, how large a percentage of the adults do you think were creative geniuses? 2%. And already at the age of 10, it had dropped to 32%, at the age of 15 to 10%. So literally, our school systems are teaching us, are making us unlearn our creative abilities, except for a very few percentages. This is something that we gotta do something about. But you guys, you are the 2%. You are the creative geniuses. And one proof I have of that is because you bothered to show up here. And you want to spend 39 hours and 25 minutes on trying to solve the really big problems in the world. So this is what I ask of you. When you deep dive into this hackathon over the coming days, look for the really big problems. The ones that really bother you. Find the problems that are so important that even if you solve only a fraction of them, then you will really make not just Sweden, but the world a better place. If you do this, then your time here will have been really well spent, and you will make a massive positive impact in the world, and we all thank you for it. So go hack Sweden, we're counting on you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. It's great. Flattering being called a genius just for showing up. It's really nice. So the next person we're going to have to on stage, you're probably going to understand what she does for a living when you see her, but I'm still going to give her a brief introduction. CEO of Spaceport Sweden, future astronaut and entrepreneur, Karin Nilsdotter.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And thank you to Anne and the team for inviting me to be here. I am just thrilled, and I'm thrilled to see so many of you and what exciting tasks you have ahead of you. So to start, I want to see a raise of hands. Who is a dreamer in here? What is your dream? World domination. I'll join you and add space to that. No, but seriously, what would you do if you knew that you could not fail? So I'd like you to think about that, not only tonight, but throughout these couple of days, right? I am a big, big, big dreamer. And the big dream that I want to realize is that I want to create and establish a new industry in Sweden. I want us to be able to launch spaceships from here that takes humans, scientists, researchers, private passengers, test and development for innovation and education into space. Sweden has one of the best assets to do that, but it's something that's completely new, have not been done before, and very challenging, but that's why I think I like it. This was a dream that was realized about 50 years ago this summer. Who's the person in the picture? Neil Armstrong. So he was the first human to ever set foot on the surface of the moon. Do you remember the second person? Buzz Aldrin, that's right. Do you remember the third person that didn't get to set foot on the Earth, but went to the moon and went circular? Michael Collins. And what did he say, by the way? What did Neil Armstrong say when he stepped on the moon? That's right. One small step for man, one huge, giant leap for mankind. 50 years ago, do you know how many people have actually been to space since then? Give me a number. 400, not bad, a little bit higher. 500, 571. Just think about that. How many people go on a flight on a daily basis? Fair enough, space is challenging, but only 571. And how many did set foot on the moon? 12, right. And we haven't been back, though, since 1972. So it's about time that changed, isn't it? And it is about to do that. We are entering a whole new space era, an entrepreneurial space era. We are seeing how we're going from having been a political race between superpowers to now be a race between entrepreneurs and corporates. There are drivers such as standardization, miniaturization, updated policy, and one of the big game changers is that we are seeing reusable rockets and spaceships. And reusable rockets and spaceships means that we can lower the cost, and we can also give access to many more people to actually reach for the stars. And I'm going to show you just a few of the many different launch systems that are being developed currently.
The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. Living and working on the moon may sound like science fiction, but the head of the European Space Agency wants to make this ambitious idea a reality.
How many of you watched Starman travel towards Mars? Yeah, quite a few of you. So this was Elon Musk, of course, who's developed a rocket called Falcon Heavy. It's 70 meters tall, and it takes some 27,000 kilos to low Earth orbit. And his plan, of course, is one day to colonize Mars. The other examples we saw was Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin. Blue Origin was founded by Jeff Bezos, also founder of Amazon, and Richard Branson founded Virgin Galactic. And they plan to take people in suborbital space, to go 100 kilometers up and down and to experience space and weightlessness for 6-7 minutes, where you can also do a lot of research in zero gravity. There was also the first company called Worldview, where you can go floating in a capsule underneath a balloon. So that's more the smooth ride if you want to sip on something nice and enjoy the view together with a group of friends, for example. We're also seeing a number of companies that are developing alternative space stations that can also be used as space hotels. This is all very real and is happening as we speak. But why on earth should we be going into space? What do you think? To explore? For resources? To have more space? But they're all excellent answers. I think one of the key reasons is actually this. It's to learn and understand more about our own mothership, about planet Earth. And we need to be in space using satellites to actually monitor our environment, monitor climate change, understand about the seas in the ocean, monitor crop, the weather, for example. This has given us so much facts and data that we've been talking about to help us understand more what is going on Earth and how can we meet the challenges and what do we need to do to stop the development that's ongoing and feed the right people with the right type of data to get them to understand that. Of course, we also use satellites for navigation, using our GPS in our smartphone, for example, but also communication. So that's been the most commercial area of space industry for the past 50 years, of course. But it's also about research and development, and not least technological advancement. We've seen a lot of new technologies and new types of materials and medicines that come from space and space research. And what is it that we're showing here on the picture? International Space Station. And I think the International Space Station is one of humanity's greatest achievements. And not only is it an amazing achievement to build this constellation in space, but it's also involved over 15 different countries and nationalities, where it has attracted the best and the brightest, and where talent has preceded everything. And that's how we need to work together, regardless of gender, belief, background, what have you. We need to work together for the greater good. As I mentioned, it's been very limited, both access but also infrastructure in space. So getting your research instrument or project to the space station has been very, very challenging. But what we're seeing now is a number of companies and also countries that are developing alternative or complementary space stations and infrastructure in space. So this is a module from the company called Bigelow from Nevada, and he does an inflatable module. And there's already one that's being used on the International Space Station and being tested as we speak. And this is one of the many companies that are looking forward to one day host both scientists, researchers, but also private citizens that want to go and experience space. Resources. Someone said resource before. There is an infinitive mass of resources in space, and asteroids are filled of metals and minerals, and not least water. And what do we need water for? Life, survival. But it's also one of the key ingredients to develop rocket fuel. So if we can find a way to actually subtract that from asteroids, we can create, for real, a spacefaring civilization where we're able to find those resources and build a colony in space. And there's a number of companies looking at doing asteroid mining. And there's an initiative here in Sweden, actually, called Beyond Atlas, which is the first crowdsourced private mission to actually go to an asteroid, to find resources to help us sustain life in the universe. But it's also about this. Someone said exploration. I think it's in our human DNA to explore, to push the boundaries, to see what's around that corner or on top of that hill, and to push humanity. So whether it's looking for a trade route, finding a continent, or whether it's taking on what I think is not only the most challenging, but also the greatest human adventure we will ever do, go to Mars. Who want to come with me? A few Martians? Excellent. Well, Mars is a very exciting planet, of course, because it has changed. Unlike the moon is like a museum. It stayed the same for all this time. But Mars has changed, and it might be a very similar development like we've seen on Earth. So, coming to a closing, I also believe that small is the new big. I think you guys have the power to change the world, and I think that we have the opportunity to do so also as a space nation in Sweden. And Sweden has been a space nation for over 100 years, actually. Researchers and tourists came here to explore and understand more about the Northern Lights and how that impacts our society and community. And since then, we have developed not only a launch site for sounding rockets and balloons, we have universities, we have a space high school, we have research institutes, and a number of very cutting-edge technology companies. And what we want to do now is to take the next step and also launch humans into space. So Spaceport Sweden was inaugurated over 15 years ago now with a mission to supply infrastructure and world-class services and experiences to space operators and to space travelers and astronauts, and to become a world-leading launch site for space travel. The opportunity that we see is to, like when you go on an airplane, you have business and you have leisure travelers, and the same you would have on a spaceship. So we want to create a whole economy around this, and also a platform for innovation, where we really can work cross-disciplinary and tackle the big challenges that we're facing. One company that I mentioned that had really disrupted the whole industry, of course, is SpaceX. Elon Musk was born in South Africa, came to the US, founded PayPal, and used that money to start up SpaceX. His mission is to develop rockets and spaceships and to colonize Mars, and he wants to lower the access to space by 100. Already now, the cost has come down from $50,000 to $18,000 to $2,000 per kilo going into orbit. And one of the big passions I have is not only taking people into space, but also taking space technology back on Earth to tackle the grand challenges that we face. And I think that space and space technology is going to be a great enabler and also empower people across the world. And one of the big enablers, I think, is when we finally get the World Wide Web to become just that, the worldwide. We've got 4 billion people today that are still not connected. But when we can what we see now is constellations of satellites being developed. So this is one company called OneWeb. And they are launching constellations of satellites where you, with your smartphone, will be able to access the internet, which means that you're able to access data, education, start a company, or any other support information that you want to have readily available. A few other smaller initiatives that are grown really big and have an opportunity, I think, to really change the world. I mentioned Beyond Atlas, which is a Swedish initiative to go to an asteroid and look for the resources that we need to sustain life in space. Another one is Made in Space, which actually came out of Singularity University, a group of students that developed a 3D printer to print in space. So we no longer need to bring all spare parts and potential other assets that we need from Earth, but we can actually develop and print them in space. Another exciting company is Orbital Systems that have been inspired by the circular economy that you have on the space station. You have to reuse everything, and then I mean everything. So what the founder of this company has done is implement this technology into showers. You will actually reuse 80% of the water and 90% of the energy. And when we can start implementing technology like this in our homes and big buildings on Earth, that's going to have a huge impact. Another one is the Fallen Tree Project, where you use satellite imagery for forestry inventory. So instead of using helicopters or airplanes with the pollution, with the noise, and with everything else, that means this is a much more cost-efficient, environmentally friendly version. And then we also have a company called Celliar that looks at how can we become more energy efficient in our home and in our buildings. How can we make sure there is no leakage of energy, but instead have the perfect temperature, but also make sure we don't lose anything. So space used to be for the select few. And as I mentioned, only 571 people have actually been. But now there is an opportunity for all of us to actually reach for the stars. And what I'm really, really excited about is when all of us can actually go and we will have our own creative minds and ideas when we're in a space, and what that's going to mean when it comes to innovation and finding solutions to the tough challenges that we face. I think we're going to see a revolution of new development. And also something that all astronauts and cosmonauts talk about is the overview effect. The fact that when we are in space, we actually don't see this, but what we see is this. There are no borders, there are no differences between people. We are all one, we are all the same, and that is how we should be treating each other, right? So someone once said that our generation was born too late to discover and explore the Earth, and too early to go and explore the stars. But I think that the timing is just right. And it is right, like Chris said, because we have made it so. And you, everyone here, you have chosen to be here today. So you have such exciting days ahead of you. You have the opportunity to spend your time to actually try to find solutions to these big challenges. And it might be a small step today, but coming out of this, it might just have become the next giant leap for you. So I want to say, coming back to your dreams, don't ever, ever stop dreaming, because it is your dreams that inspire your action. Go Hack for Sweden, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen, and truly inspiring. And feels like space is one of those areas we're just going to see a lot of innovation within this time. So, guys, it's time to start going into a bit more of the Hack for Sweden 2019. And we're going to start off by showing you the categories of today.
Right. So now you heard the speakers. We have heard about the open data. We have heard about discipline, about showing up, and we've heard about, these big dreams, but they could be backed up with facts and become a reality. And these 6 categories are actually inspired by the most data-matured areas.
By Gartner, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And in Dream for Sweden, which is our campaign, we've been letting all of Sweden dream. So you have the ability to go there and to write what you dream, and then we try to tie it down to which one of these sectors. And the more specific one, we have 18 challenges. 18 challenges, which you have to choose which one of them you want to solve. But first of all, you can also go into the physical exhibition out in the partner track and continue to dream. And you can see me and Elsa dream there. And let me try to combine different data sets and satellite pictures and stuff.
Yes. And the first thing you need to, when you dig into the different challenges, 18 of them, you need to confirm the teams you are going to be in by 23:59, right? And to go more into all the details about this hackathon, we're not going to stand here and ramble more about it, because we actually got an app.
So basically, h4s.se, where you're going to be provided with information about, frequently asked questions. You're going to see prizes, which we're going to tell you more about later. And you can also see the hack structure, the rules, and the jury for the ones that want to know who you're actually pitching for tomorrow and to get a face on each jury of every category. So basically, we're also going to explain to you what are you going to be judged, what are the criteria for getting judged. And for that, we have 6 of them.
Exactly. So you can see on the screen innovativeness, comprehensibility, realizability, scalability, return on value, and last but not least, benefits of society. So have that in mind when you bring forward your solutions.
Everything super clear? You know exactly what you're going to be judged about? Yes. Well, be sure to check out the app, and be sure to feedback on if you need more information, and just feel free to reach out in Slack.
Exactly.
And now we need a movie.
Thank you for flying with HackerWings. To make sure you have a pleasant flight, we will now show you a short demonstration, so be sure to pay attention.
Emergency exits are marked out with a green sign. Provided in your goodie bags, you have one sleeping mask, Be sure to tighten the straps. Place it on yourself before helping anyone else.
Provided in your bags is also a Hack for Sweden t-shirt. Not for emergency, but used at all times. Be sure to pick the right one to signal who you are and what role you have.
Everything you need to know regarding schedule, challenges, jury. We refer you to the Hack for Sweden app, probably most reachable through the phone in your pockets.
Hackaways is also proud to present to you our own fiber Wi-Fi to give you the best hacking experience.
We'll soon provide you with refreshments.
Inspiring, truly. Thank you for flying with Hackways. So yeah, hopefully you get the goodie bags, the sleep masks, and some of the swag merch that we have, so you can show off that you're hacking for Sweden.
Yeah. Yes, and that was most of the things you need to know for these upcoming days. Be sure to visit the app. So, yes.
Yeah, reach out in Slack. And we also have with us our DJ, Christian Marcus, flew in from Denmark, working from Tesla, and he puts the tech in technology.
Right.
So basically, be sure to check out that you need to submit your team and the specific challenge. We can't repeat that enough.
Yeah, 23.59. And then the prizes.
Because now it's time to get excited, because what are we battling for?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, on here you see a lot of different amount of Swedish crowns that you will get to realize your solution, basically. But not only do you get money to boost it,
for us, this is a small portion.
Yeah.
We provide you money, but most important, we provided with incubation, fast-track programs to one of the coolest venture cap and incubators. We got co-working spaces all around the world, so you can, after the hackathon, continue to work with your solution.
Yeah, and really exciting. In the beginning of the ceremony, you also saw the first video of the community. Hack for Sweden has such a strong community, so it's so easy to, reach out to people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important. I mean, go out, talk with the people that provides you with the data, discuss with them. We'll have coaches, mentors here, everyone to just guide you.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically everything we have for today.
I have some recommendations. I mean, we talk a lot about buzzwords.
Yeah.
So what are the things VR, AI?
Yeah, exactly.
Fire, blockchain.
Sometimes in hackathon context, it's like these big words, right? There's space, there's AI, there's VR, whatever those words are. But remember that sometimes you just need to solve a problem. So now when you start to draft solutions, think about what problems you would like to solve, and also just dream, sketch things down, speak to each other, and make sure that everybody's roles, also what we spoke about before, everybody can just realize the value they bring to the team. That's a really good tip.
So guys, are you tired of hearing us talking and excited to start hacking? Because we are.
We are so excited to see what you can bring forward during this hackathon.
So, action point. Do everyone know what to do before 23:59 today? Have dinner. We will shortly serve you refreshments.
Exactly.
No. Find your team, finalize it, look at the challenges, and choose the one that you can provide a good solution within. And guys, let's start hacking.
Let's start hacking.
Hello everyone, just a quick message. For everyone who doesn't have their team yet, we will meet out at the info desk and sort everything out for you right away. See you there, for everyone who doesn't have their team.
Men det blir inget bra. It's all about the show. Jag lägger det på skärmen.